And the Nintendo Switch 2 Nintendo Direct, we got plenty of announcements of upcoming games that will be coming to the console sometime this year. On top of that, the week before the Direct, we also got a Nintendo Switch 1 Direct, probably the final one for the console, where we got a couple games that will be coming to the Nintendo Switch, along with the Switch 2 probably with backwards compatibility, sometime in 2026, being Rhythm Heaven Groove and Tomodachi Life Living the Dream. So on top of those two games and all the games that were announced in the Nintendo Switch 2 Nintendo Direct, I figured why not go in and rank each of these based on how excited I am for them. As always, this video is just my opinion. If you agree or disagree with my ranking of these games, that is completely fine. And with that in mind, let me know what games you're most excited for and what games you're least excited for. With that being said, I'm the biggest nub on YouTube, Christendo, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure you like it and subscribe to the channel, so it helps me out a ton. My goal is to try to reach 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and your subscription can help me get one step closer to that goal. And while you're at it, if you want to talk to me and others about all things Nintendo, consider joining the Chris Discord server. The link is down in the description. With that being said, let's get into the first game, which is Game Chat. Obviously, this isn't a game and is more so an application for Nintendo Switch 2, and it's essentially just Discord for Nintendo Switch 2, where you're able to call with your friends, voice chat with friends, video chat, because there's also the camera attachment, which is like $50. And on top of that, you're able to share your screens to friends, and it's very clear that you won't be able to like view your friends' screens in great frame rate because they show it very clear in the trailer that frames are not great in there. But regardless, this is essentially just Discord for Nintendo Switch 2, and it also has a cool addition if you remember DS Download Play, where you'd be able to basically download through Wi-Fi or being connected to Wi-Fi and play with your friends. We essentially have that here, where through Game Chat, you're able to share your friends and be able to limitedly play Nintendo Switch 1 games and Nintendo Switch 2 games. So that's a cool feature, but all in all, I'm not really excited for Game Chat because at the end of the day, I feel like I'm just going to use Discord. But I do see this being a pretty good thing if I am not on my phone or not on my PC and I'm playing Mario Kart, let's say, but I don't want to get on Discord. I can see myself maybe using this, and because of that, we'll put it in the C tier. It's not super exciting, but I think it will be pretty useful, and I think it's a good thing for the console. The fact that the normal Switch didn't have a voice chat was kind of diabolical, so having it finally built into the console and not having to use a mobile app for it is honestly a great addition to the console. Speaking of Mario Kart, up next we got Mario Kart World, and as I've already mentioned, this is my most anticipated game of the year. So obviously this is going to be S tier. When it comes to this game, there's just a lot I'm excited for. The character roster is crazy. The open world free roam has so much potential because as of me recording this, we don't know necessarily if it's like a story mode or if it's literally just free roam mode. But even then, even if it is just a free roam mode, just being able to drive around this huge open world as Mario characters is going to be such a vibe, especially late at night. The tracks look to be pretty cool. Just everything about this game is exciting besides the price point. That's its own thing, but price point aside, this game looks to be great. I am super excited for it, and because of that, spoiler alert, it's the game I'm looking forward to most of this collection. Staying on the topic of Mario for another game, we got Mario Party Jamboree Switch 2 Edition plus Jamboree TV. Yes, I'm including the Switch 2 editions in here as well. These are going to be ranked based on how much they include and how excited I am for their additions, not based on the games themselves. I guess also just how excited I am to be able to replay them on Switch 2. So again, when I'm ranking these, I'm not taking into account how good the games are, more so how excited I am for their additions and how well they'll perform on Switch 2. So hopefully that makes sense. Anyways, with Mario Party Jamboree plus Jamboree TV, I'm not like super excited about it because when it comes to Jamboree TV, it really is just kind of a couple more mini games, and you know, they're cool and stuff. And then there's a couple side modes that use the mouse controls and use the camera, and those are cool and all, but after like maybe a couple times, I don't really see myself going to those modes because like I don't think they are included in the base Mario Party experience. Like, you have the ability to see yourself on the chance time relay, which is kind of cool, but like, I don't know, the new mini games will be fun, I think, but outside of that, it'll be cool for a couple times, but after that, I don't really see myself coming back to Jamboree TV. So because of that, I'm gonna put it in the B tier because I think it's a good addition to the game, because any new content in Mario Party Jamboree is gonna be great content. But I just wish that there could have been like a couple boards added on top of that, and it wasn't just a couple side modes that are probably half baked like most of them are, and you know, a couple new mini games here here and there. I feel like it could have potential, but I personally am not super excited for it, so yeah, B tier. Up next, we got GameCube Nintendo Switch Online, and honestly, like, this should have been expected, but at the same time, when it was announced, it was so unexpected because we were like, okay, it's probably gonna take a hot minute for us to get GameCube NSO because they're doing remasters of GameCube games like the Pikmin games and Metroid Prime remastered and Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door. But the fact that we finally have these games through NSO now and it's gonna be on the Nintendo Switch 2 at launch is honestly really exciting. At launch, it's gonna only have a couple of games. Hopefully they drip feed new games often and we don't have to wait super long for a game like Mario Kart Double Dash. But just being able to play GameCube games through Nintendo hardware officially again after not being able to for so long is honestly really exciting. I think this is an A tier, and hopefully with this coming to Nintendo Switch 2, prices for GameCube games go down as well because I'm a collector, so as a collector, I would love to see GameCube game prices go down because right now they are crazy expensive. Anyways, moving into another Nintendo Switch 2 edition game, we got Kirby and the Forgotten Land Nintendo Switch 2 edition plus Star Crossed World. I know, that's a mouthful. When it comes to the Nintendo Switch 2 edition games, I feel like that this one will have the most potential for content because on top of it being improved frame rates for Kirby and the Forgotten Land and a better experience, you also basically get another story or another campaign in it. So you essentially get DLC for the game, and it's not just like side modes like Mario Party. This is like essentially full-on DLC for the game. We don't know the extent of it and like how much it's going to add to the game, but the fact that we're getting basically DLC for the game is honestly really awesome. I always felt like that there could have been a lot more that they could have added to this game if they wanted to do DLC. So them finally doing it, I'm a fan of it. I've wanted to replay this game for a while now, so the Nintendo Switch 2 edition gives me a reason to do that. So I'm going to put it in the A tier because, like I said, I think that this has the potential to have the most added content in it. So because of that, I feel like that this might be one of, if not the best Nintendo Switch 2 edition game, at least in terms of what you're paying for. Anyways, moving on to Metroid Prime 4 Beyond now, I am really excited for this game. I think that this is an A tier game because this game, like even on the Switch, it looked phenomenal and it looks even better now on Switch 2. I never really like got super into the Metroid Prime series. I started and I got through a good decent bit of Metroid Prime Remastered, but when it comes to the other ones, I never really played them. But this one I feel is going to be different. Like I actually am like really excited to play this one. It looks like a ton of fun, and Samus having psychic powers is definitely a good change. And while all we know right now is it being used to operate mechanisms and maybe open doors here and there, I think it could have some good combat potential. And the game looks stunning, like I said, and the fact that on Switch 2 you can use the Joy-Con as mice to be able to control, and it's seemingly to be seamless between being able to switch from like traditional controls and using the mouse Joy-Con controls is honestly super great. I think that this might honestly be like one of those hidden gems on the Switch 2 because obviously it's more so a Switch 1 game, so people are going to look at it as a Switch 1 game, but at the same time, it does have a Switch 2 edition game with all these great additions. Like, I honestly feel like that this game has so much potential, so I'm really excited for it. So again, I think that this is an A tier game above GameCube and Nintendo Switch Online. On the other hand though, we got Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour. I don't even know with this one. Like, this one is basically just a glorified manual. That's what I thought from the start. People are comparing it to Astro's Playroom on the PS5. There, it was a pack-in game, whereas this is a game that you had to pay for and it's digital only, so I don't even see myself ever getting this one. And again, it's just a glorified manual. It tells you about the console, and there's a couple mini games in there which I guess is cool, but at the same time I don't really see that as a reason to pick this game up, and because of that I'm gonna put this in the D tier. I just don't see myself picking this one up because not only is it digital only, but it's also paid for an experience that should have been a pack-in title, but Nintendo doesn't do pack-in titles anymore. They're not like how they used to be. Moving on to Pokemon Legends ZA. At first I was very skeptical about this game because the first trailer that we got during the Pokemon Presents was kind of rough, where the game looked bad. It had frame drops in the trailer. It, like, even started with frame drops, and that was really sad. But with the Nintendo Switch 2 edition of this game, my faith in the game has kind of restored because it looks better. Hopefully it runs better as well. That's what I'm really hoping for with this game, because if it runs better on the Switch 2, this might be one of the best Pokemon experiences we've gotten since the DS and 3DS days of the Pokemon series. So because of that, I'm a little bit more excited for this game. I'm gonna put it in high B tier because I'm still pretty skeptical about about it, but at the same time, I still think it's going to be a good time because I feel like it's going to be like Pokemon Legends Arceus regardless. It might not look the best, but the gameplay in its own right is going to be what makes the experience better and more of a tolerable experience. Moving on to our last Nintendo Switch 2 Edition game, or should I say games here, we have the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild Switch 2 Edition and the Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom Switch 2 Edition. When it comes to these, they're great games. Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom are some of the greatest games Nintendo has ever made. So when I say I am excited to pick these up because they're going to be better versions of those games that run at hopefully 60, maybe even 120 FPS. I don't think they're going to go that high, but 60 FPS in 4K, these are going to feel like wholly different games. And because of that, I'm super excited for it. But at the same time, there's no additional content for them. And like, sure, these games are great already, so they don't need additional content. They already got a ton of content. But the fact that we're basically paying $10 extra for some mobile app functionality, it's just kind of lame. But you know what? That doesn't hinder my excitement for the game. I'm excited for Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom on Switch 2. And because of that, I'm going to put it in the A tier behind Kirby and the Forgotten Land, because while these are objectively better games than Kirby and the Forgotten Land, I feel that the Kirby and the Forgotten Land Switch 2 Edition is going to be more bang for your buck. So because of that, I feel like that definitively Kirby and the Forgotten Land is just a bit better. Anyways, let's move back into games I don't really care for. Drag X Drive. This game just feels like Rocket League, and Nintendo wanted to make Rocket League again, except for with wheelchairs instead of cars and basketball instead of soccer. I think Nintendo said that this isn't all the game offers and that there's still more that they have to show. But when you compare this as a new IP to like something like Splatoon or even ARMS, there's just not much personality to this one because it really just looks dull. It's really gray. There's no cool, unique character designs like we like from Nintendo games. And because of that, I have to put this into C tier. There's just not really any reason I can see myself playing Drag X Drive unless it turns out to be an actually interesting looking game. But the last sports game I played for a Nintendo console was Mario Strikers Battle League, and that was not a good experience. So when it comes to sports games made by Nintendo, I'm a little bit more skeptical about them. So because of that, Drag X Drive is a C tier game for me. Moving into the Nintendo Switch 1 games that are coming out in the next year, not this year, but in 2026. First off, we got Rhythm Heaven Groove, and I was never super big in the Rhythm Heaven series. I never really played a Rhythm Heaven game, but that doesn't mean it is at all a bad series. There's a ton of people out there that are excited for this game, and for those people, I'm excited for you. But personally, I'm not super interested in Rhythm Heaven Groove. I think it's gonna be a fun game for those that are into the series. But for me personally, because I never really got into Rhythm Heaven, I just don't have as much hype for this game as many others do. But I think I would be interested in checking it out if it was on sale or something, and I think it's gonna be a quality game. Even though it's like on the Switch 1 and at this point in time, it's basically just on its last legs. I think that Rhythm Heaven Groove is going to be a good time for anyone that plays it. So because of that, I'm going to put it in the B tier. I think it's going to be great for Rhythm Heaven fans, and even like for people that aren't Rhythm Heaven fans, I think it'll be a fun game. And because of that, I could acknowledge that, yeah, this is going to be a quality time. So I think B tier is a pretty good place for it. Following up that, we have Tomodachi Life Living the Dream. Once again, another Switch 1 game. And this one, while I'm not super invested in Tomodachi Life like a lot of people are, I still played a bit of Tomodachi Life on the 3DS and I enjoyed every minute I played of it. So because of that, I put it above Rhythm Heaven Groove because this game is just a fun time. When it comes to this game, you don't take it seriously at all. Like, it's one of those kind of like funny little games that you play and you check out on your Mii's and here and stuff like that. And like, it's Tomodachi Life. You know what Tomodachi Life gameplay is. It's nothing too crazy, but at the same time, that's the charm of it. And because of that, I'm gonna put it in the B tier above Super Mario Party Jamboree. Moving on to one of the games that are kind of overlooked when it comes to the Switch 2 Direct, you got Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. This game takes place during the events of the Imprisoning War, and Nintendo has confirmed that this is in fact a canon game. So when you compare this to Age of Calamity, this is already leagues better, because that was kind of like a what if scenario. This is full on canon to the Zelda lore, so that's pretty cool. But when it comes to the gameplay, I was never really super into the like Warriors type of gameplay. Like it's definitely mindless fun, but at the same time, I don't really see myself being too invested in it because at the same time, it is mindless fun. So I'm not gonna be super invested in this game, but I do feel like that this game is gonna be a good one. It looks like it's gonna be an interesting time. So again, I know I've already had a couple games in a row that are in the B tier, but I feel that Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment is another one of those games that is going to be a good time, but not something I am like super stoked to pick up. On the other hand though, we got Kirby Air Riders, and honestly, this might be one of the games I'm excited for most. We don't know much about this game at this time, but Kirby Air Ride on the GameCube was phenomenal. It was probably like one of the best racing type of games on the platform, or just of all time. So the series finally returning with Kirby Air Riders so early into the Nintendo Switch 2's life is honestly insane. And the fact that Masahiro Sakurai, who hasn't worked on a Kirby game, if I'm not mistaken, since Kirby Air Ride on the GameCube, coming back directing this game, it was honestly super exciting to see that he is, in fact, the director of this game. Like I said, we don't know much about this so far. We haven't seen gameplay yet, but having Sakurai helming the project, and on top of it being a Kirby Air Ride game, I think that this game's gonna be great. So, you know what? We'll put it at the top of A tier. And now, for the final game of this video, Donkey Kong Bonanza. Wow. Okay, Donkey Kong Bonanza, it's up there with Mario Kart World as an S tier game. I am super excited for Donkey Kong Bonanza because this game looks great. It's kind of like the Super Mario 64 of the Donkey Kong series, where it takes it in like a whole new direction, and it just has like that sense of like mystery and like exploration to it, and just like being able to just kind of do whatever you want because you're able to basically destroy the world around you, which is kind of funny. And there's like a ton of treasure hidden around. And you know, this is the first Donkey Kong game since Tropical Freeze on the Wii U like 12 years ago. And on top of that, it's the first 3D Donkey Kong game since Donkey Kong 64 back on the Nintendo 64 in 1999. So the fact that the first new Donkey Kong game in over a decade being a 3D Donkey Kong is honestly really exciting. I'm really excited for this game. I want to try to like keep what I know about the game at a minimum because I want to go into this game with knowing as little as possible because I want to be able to experience this game to its fullest. But even then, I am excited for this game. And if it wasn't for my Mario Kart bias, I think that Donkey Kong Bonanza would have easily been my most anticipated game coming to the Nintendo Switch this year. But yeah, that's my ranking of every Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch 2 game that's releasing in the next year or so. What do you think of my picks? Do you agree with them? Do you disagree with them? And if you do disagree with them, what would you change around, and what games are you looking forward to most and not looking forward to most? I'm interested to see in the comments if there's anyone that's actually interested in Drag X Drive or Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour. And if you're one of those people, let me know why. I'm curious. That's all I really have for this one, but if you want to see another video by me, there's a video on screen now where I rank the retro tracks in the upcoming Mario Kart game, Mario Kart World, where I rank them based on how excited I am for them to return. And I think you'll enjoy that video. With that being said, I'm the biggest nub on YouTube, Cristendo, signing off, and as always, goodbye, Nub Nation.